Okay, guys, Falcon's back. So, this will be the very first of hopefully many videos to come. Um, I guess initially what I wanted to do was give you guys I guess a teaser of one of the game concept I was working on that me and my other buddies are working on. I was actually going to try to show you guys the breakdown of how I came up with the model concept, but apparently, unfortunately, what happened was this was actually an old concept I did a couple of years back, and I had the old data files on an external hard drive, and I dropped it. So I tried looking to see if I made backups of it. Unfortunately, I didn't. But anyway, what I wanted to do was give you guys a teaser of the I guess the upcoming game we're working on. But what I want to show you is what I'll do is I'll show you a quick breakdown of some of the concept models that I made, just so you can get a feel of how I do them, and eventually I'll do create a concept from scratch. So bear with me, and I will see if I can load up a couple of other concepts, and we'll quickly go through them real quick. Okay, so I was thinking I would start off with one of my latest models, concept models. Sorry, um, and I'll show you how I broke down. I'll show the breakdown of how some of the components were put together. Like I said, the idea is we call back in the days was kit bashing, but in my case, it's doing 3D meshes and bashing the meshes together. So what you'll notice is that there's a lot of these components are from other models. It's just really how it starts. It actually took me a couple of years to sort of get a good feel of putting things together, that it starting to look pretty good. Because if you looked at some of my older concepts, it looks like a piece of crap. But as it says, persevere. As an artist, you persevere and you keep trying out, and eventually you'll start getting a flow and things work out. But anyway, let me show you some quick breakdowns of some of that particular model that I was working on. Now, if you notice, there's a lot of these components are from different pieces, and I just put them together because I'll give you something that you might, any of you Star Trek fans out there, you might recognize. You might recognize this piece. If you take a look, this is actually, I guess, the front end of a Star Trek shuttle. I actually found this model online. I got it for free. Someone built it. I didn't go through the hassle of doing it myself because I liked the shape, so this is why I decided to use it. I can use this thing. It could be an engine duct or what have you. For doing the 3D concepting is really more about looking at the shape and what type of ideas that come into mind when you look at it. Most of the time when I'm doing these concepts, I have no clue what I'm doing. I just look at a piece and something just sort of feels right, and I just start messing around and scaling it up, stretching it, pulling it apart, and taking little chunks of components and putting them together. And so if you look, I think this was a part of, I think it was a Jem'Hadar. I think it was a Jem'Hadar wing. I believe it was, or am I wrong? But yeah, if you can see, but for me, it was all just about looking at different shapes and throwing components together. Like this air intake was from a fighter jet. I liked the shape, and I wanted to, so I worked with it and tried to put it together. Like if you look at this component here, the round cylinder is actually part of an old TIE fighter, a model that I did many years ago. Um, let's see here. Let's see if I can get some more stuff here. So yeah, I mean the main idea of doing 3D concepting is really is try to be raw when it comes to doing conceptual ideas, rather than wasting your time trying to actually make the physical 3D model. So this is for me. Was the big key, because I used to spend hours sketching on pieces of paper, and it would just take too damn long. And even doing clean 3D models, it also took weeks just to make a couple different shapes. So I had the idea, you know what? Maybe I should just try putting all pieces together, because at the end of the day, really, what you want to do, you're looking at you want to be free to create. You forget about being tied down by making individual individual parts and components for 3D mesh. Because I guess when you're done, if you feel like want to either import these things into a game engine, or you're working on another project, you're really just looking at your object as a concept medium, nothing more than that. Then from there you can create your clean 3D mesh. All right, so I'll load up another ship, another concept, and I will give you a little quick breakdown of how I did it. Like I said, eventually I'll do a video of me actually starting from scratch, so you can actually see how I put this thing together. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you the I guess the process of these ones, because I couldn't recreate. I wouldn't be able to recreate it even if I tried. It's only because doing the concepting is so raw that to recreate the actual mesh again, it just would be too impossible. And yeah, if you noticed, some of these engine ducts are from other pieces of models that I did way back in the days, and I just stick them together because it just looked cool. Okay, so here's another one of the I guess my recent designs was creating a transport vessel, actually, for hopefully for to get a job working on Star Citizen. But like I said, I sent in my application too late, and they already had a ton of guys doing this kind of stuff. Would have been cool to work on the game, but you know what, things happen. But if you noticed, I'll actually show you. Like I said, a lot of the components are from other models that I bashed together. If you noticed, like the nacelles are actually from I think it was the alien ship. I think it was the alien drop ship, actually, that I found online. It was I got it for free when I was many years ago. So I made sure that I kept a file of a lot of these models a lot of these things I find online, things that I've modeled myself. It's like over 17 years of building my database together. Oh yeah, so I know some of these engine inlets are also, it's one of the engine ports, I think, for I think it was a Battlestar Galactica ship. And if you noticed, you might notice this front, I guess, a little hump thingy was as the nose of I think it was the Serenity. And I think you look at this component is I think it was the gun port of a Klingon warbird. Well, like I said, the idea is for doing 3D concepting is you want to be unfeathered. You want to just raw do concept. Don't worry about the models, because when you just want to be tethered down when you're worrying so much about how the models how the mesh is going to be put together. because for me as an artist, it just takes too much time to put that. I mean, if I can do concept designs, this thing took me an hour to put together. If I was actually physically to model this, it would have taken me maybe a month with all this detail. Yeah, it's just like a ton of work. But like I said, you're more interested in the shape, and then when you want to do a final build of the model, then yeah, you take your time and you build it out. But here, I might be able to show you this breakdown. Actually, this is one of the earlier concepts. If you can probably see. Right, and you can see different components, so different elements. I was slowly putting things together. Right, I think this is an engine port from another model that I found. I just like the shape. As you can see, this is the front end of the Serenity. I like the how the shape of the front end looked. It was kind of a cool shape, so that's why I sort of hit me to put together with the I guess a little hump in my sort of mantis looking ship. Yeah, so you can see it's all just small little components, throwing things together, just like back in the days of getting those plastic model kits. Throwing components together. Like if you notice, this was actually I did the job I was working, one of the freelance gigs I was doing for Petroglyph Games, coming up with some concepts for their game Universe at War, sorry, Earth Final Conflict. This was actually one of the bases I did, and yeah, I kind of liked how the shape or the detail was, so I decided to put that on my transport. Yeah, so you can see it's all just small little pieces of, like, if you noticed, the same design, same component. I just used it to shape the back end of the transport ship, and you put it all together. It starts to look like something. Well, like I said, it took me took a couple of years to get to the point where I can shape things so that it looks right. If you looked at it from afar, quickly looked at it, it would look like a pretty solid mesh. But if you really looked at it, you'll notice that there's a lot of components that don't really meld together. But like I said, you're more interested in the shape, not how the mesh was constructed. Yeah, so and that was, so this thing took me a couple of hours to do. I mean, it was a couple of different iterations, and eventually it came up to look like the final concept. So you can see I didn't really finish the back end because I wasn't really all that. Because I was just gonna make a quick camera shot of the front end, just to send off for my resume or portfolio, and let the guys look at my concept designs. But yeah, so there was no point in me doing the back end of it. I didn't want to waste my time working on it because there was a rush. I wanted to hopefully get a job working at Star Citizen, but like I said, it was a little too late. So yeah, that's some of my concept designs. I guess the next video I'll do a couple more breakdowns of some of the designs I did. Oh, by the way, I'll show you. Another thing to do is try not to lose a lot of your old models that you worked on. If you're a 3D modeler, try to hang on to a lot of this stuff because you can be able to reuse a lot of components. Because if you noticed, like these nacelles I have, you actually see some of my concepts. Let me show you. If I look at my Flickr portfolio, you can actually see I've reused a lot of these components. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, looks like I was saying, if you go to my Flickr page, you can actually see I reuse a lot of the components only because it's just I like the way it was shaped. So this is why. So if you notice, one of my little jump ships, there's the alien nacelle I was using. And if you go up and check out some more stuff here, again, the nacelles, they just like the shape. Really cool fish shape. But anyway, like I said, the next couple of videos I'll break down some more of these ship designs. Unfortunately, some of these brown ones, there was also part of the on my old hard drive that I dropped, so I no longer have these files. I only have the images. Fortunately, so I just have the images. But everything else, I still do have the 3D models. Like I'm going to show you how I broke down some of these mechs. It was for a freelance gig. Things for an iPhone game or iPad game. Yeah, so that's it for now, and I'll share another video next week.